So based on the discussion, what we discussed on last class, right? So last class வந்து we discussed on what is called as an end effector அப்படிங்கிறதுன்னு பார்த்தோம். So those end effector, it is the device that is at the end of a robotic arm. So ஒரு end of robotic arm இல்ல, it will those the device which performs some action, that is called as an end effector. So end effector ultimate aim is to perform some action, right, for the desired task. So there are main types of this end effector, as I said already. So these are called as grippers and tools. So these end effector can be generally classified as grippers and tools. The grippers is mainly used for the purpose of holding an object, either to pick and place or to carry the object. Whereas the tools, right? So, but tool purpose is it's merely like to for the purpose of an application like welding, cutting, right? It's a course for video games that is called spray painting. So all these purpose can be used for this tooling type of this end effector, right? So this is general of this end effector. So when it comes to the point of these grippers, so types of end effectors வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, the first type is called as a gripping type. These grippers, end effectors in terms of grippers, right? So grippers are the end effectors used for holding the parts or an object. So if having an end effector, if I just want to pick some material, right? So that type of end effector is called as a gripping type end effector. So the grippers அப்படின்னாவே is generally mean for the holding the parts around object. ஸோ இதில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஜென்ரலி these major application of this gripper is to machine loading and unloading, picking and placing of parts on a conveyor, material handling, bottle handling, arranging parts into pallets, right? So pallet arrangements we can use for this kind of grippers. So these are general need of these grippers, right? So these grippers can be generally classified into majorly classified into these six types of grippers here. So first one is mechanical grippers, second is hooks and scoops, and magnetic grippers, vacuum grippers, and expandable bladder type grippers, and next one is adhesives. So adhesives is nothing but it's a sticky manner, right? So the first method of this gripper is so it is very important in syllabus part. So these are the major types of grippers. So we have to explain each and every type of grippers. So let me look into the different types of grippers, right? So the first type of grippers is called as a mechanical gripper. So the mechanical gripper வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா where we don't have any kind of electronic circuits, um, but we can use the aids use பண்ணிட்டு by means of totally complete mechanical action, right? So complete mechanical action மூலமா I can able to hold down the material either to for the applications, that is either to for to pick and place or part transferring. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி கான்செப்ட்ஸ் தான் just going for this kind of this mechanical gripper, right? So generally this is the schematic layout of this mechanical gripper. So look at here. So this mechanical gripper is also having the type of this end flange. So the end flange load at the end side வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா having this pivot based linkages. So this is called as a pivot based linkages. So while this is called as an fingers. So இந்த பேர் வந்து ஃபிங்கர்ஸ்னு சொல்லி நம்ம லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் பார்த்தோம். So based upon this actuating of this pivot based links, the fingers வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா can hold down this kind of this object, right? So I just come back with this calculation method of this how what is the force analysis literally required for to hold down the material. அப்போ அதுக்கு நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும்னா first we have to draw the free body diagram. So free body diagram we have to draw, right? As what we have learned in engineering mechanics is so we have to convert all this force into that is a body into a free body diagram, and we have to calculate all the values of forces. So the free force body diagram நம்ம calculate பண்ணிட்டு based upon which I have to calculate what is the required force in order to hold down the material. அதை நம்ம calculate பண்ணுவோம் நம்ம, right? It will come like later. So this is the first type is called as a mechanical type of gripper. The second வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா hooks and scoops, right? So this is one of the simplest type, right? So this directly needs that. Um, it is also a fingered type of gripper only. It's generally called as finger type. ஸோ இதில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஹூக்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பேசிக்கலி கால்ட் அஸ் அண்ட் எ பிவட் பாயிண்ட். போத் தீஸ் ஹூக்ஸுங்கிறது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் நத்திங் பட் எ பிவட் என்னென்ன ஒரு பாயிண்ட் பேஸ் பண்ணி இந்த டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் மோஷன் நடக்கக்கூடிய விஷயம். இன் டெர்ம்ஸ் ஆஃப் அன் ஆங்குலர் டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் மோஷன் நடக்கக்கூடிய விஷயம், ஆர் ஆங்குலர் டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் ரொட்டேஷன் பேசிஸ். right? So these are the pivot points. So in the pivot point base பண்ணிட்டு, if having a material over here, so these two fingered robots, these are the finger type robots. So these finger type robots will hold on the material once the pivot is getting actuated, right? So this may be in terms of a multiple hooks na ஒரு holding object, right? So these may be having multiple hooks or single hooks depending upon the attachment in end flange. End flange or attachment base பண்ணிட்டு எத்தனை number of hooks you can calculate it, right? So these are called as hooks and scoop types. So these another scoop, another type of hook, another type in hook and hooks in sliding type, right? So this will be in sliding motion. Either in cases both will be comes under translation into slide agum, and this left finger on the pathina slide agum and right finger both will get sliding motion. In some applications on the pathina, one will be in stationary and one will be in moving translation motion to hold on the material. And next one is the magnetic type gripper. So magnetic gripper அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, it is mutually meant for to a strong magnet it will places here, right? So this is a view of this magnetic gripper. So mostly the material which is capable of having the magnetic property. So now can you able to see my screen? Are you following me? Nice, please reply.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this type of gripper is called as a magnetic type gripper. So this magnetic type gripper on the pathina, as I said, this type of gripper having connected with an electrical drive, right? So when electrical drives nothing but it is connected with an electrical circuit here. So இப்போ இந்த magnetic grippers வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, once the electrical current pulses is given, it will get magnetized, right? So it's more like a semiconductor இருக்கலாம். Once the electrical circuit is generated, அதோட magnetic field experience ஆகும், it get magnetized ஆகும். So thereby it is capable of holding a material, right? So maybe it's in சில cases we may be having use a permanent type magnet இருக்கலாம். The total depending upon the loading and unloading and what is the amount of weight we can carry the object, right? So in which, so for the maximum in the type of magnetic repair, obviously only work on the magnetic objects. So it may be depending upon the ferrous and non-ferrous type. So ferrous will be having a magnetic property. So the magnetic objects, and therefore they are limited in working with certain metals. So industrial வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, those who are capable of having the metals like having magnetic properties in the metals இருக்கோ, that I can able to work with this type of magnetic type of grippers, right? So, but a small disadvantage, so I want to discuss here. A disadvantage of using this magnetic gripper is the temperature. So that means temperature is na ஒரு encircled a controlled medium I can go with this type of this magnetic gripper. Next, the ultimate is called next the another important type of gripper on the pattern is called the suction gripper. So mostly the suction gripper is eventually work on the concept of this vacuum, right? So compressed air, that is an vacuum suction head create பண்ணிட்டு, because of the suction head, right? So some vacuum is getting created. So on that vacuum, through by means of this vacuum, um, the concept of the suction grippers can is working on. So depending upon the weight of an object, right? So ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்டோட weight, if it is in high amount of weight அப்படின்னா, we have to create more number of suction head நம்ம அதிகமாக create பண்ணணும். It's totally depending upon the amount of this compressor, right? So this is some of the view of this vacuum gripper. So பட் இந்த இடத்துல வேக்யூம் கிரிப்பரோட அல்டிமேட் எய்ம் என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, அந்த வேக்யூம் கிரிப்பர் வந்து ஒரு irregularity ஆப்ஜெக்ட் வந்து பிக் பண்ணுறப்போ அதோடைய கம்ப்ளீட் சர்ஃபேசஸ் வந்து வேக்கமாக கவர் இருந்தது அப்படின்னா இட் கேன் ஏபிள் டு ஹோல்ட் ஆன், ரைட்? ஸோ திஸ் டைப் ஆஃப் வேக்கம் டைப் கிரிப்பர்ஸ் மோஸ்ட்லி யூஸ்ஃபுல் ஃபார் தி கான்செப்ட் ஆஃப் திஸ் ஃபிளாட் சர்ஃபேஸ் ஆர் தி சர்ஃபேஸ் விச் கேன் ஏபிள் டு கெட் அக்யூமுலேட்டட் வித் வேக்கம், ரைட்? ஸோ ஈஸிலி வேக்யூம் அக்யூமுலேட் பண்ணி பிக் பண்ணுற மாதிரி இருந்ததுன்னா மட்டும்தான் எனி ஏர் கேப் அந்த செக்ஷன் ஹெட் ஏர் மூலம் எனி ஏர் கேப் ஒரு லீக்கேஜ் இருந்ததுன்னா இட் கேனாட் பி ஹோல்ட் ஆன். ஸோ தட் இஸ் ஒன் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ் ஆஃப் திஸ் வேக்யூம் டைப் gripper. ஸோ இன் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா திஸ் இஸ் அன் ஸ்பெஷல் கேஸ் எக்ஸ்பேண்டபிள் bladder டைப். ஸோ ஆஸ் லைக் இமேஜிங் a balloon. ஸோ ஒரு சிலிண்டர் இஃப் ஹேவிங் so this type of bladder is useful for handling fragile materials. So fragile materials எப்படின்னா for having this glasses or cylindrical cylinders. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி சில கேசஸ்ல வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா we can go for this expandable bladder type grippers. ஸோ இதோட மெயின் பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் இஸ் it has to be it's an hollow type material இருக்கட்டும். ஸோ அந்த hollow type material but not should be much more. So hollow type material. So it has to be immersed inside the hollow tube. Once it actuates, it expands. So actuate ஆகிறப்ப either in terms of ஒரு compressed air தான் இருக்கும். So அந்த compressed air உள்ள நம்ம அனுப்புறப்ப என்ன ஆகும், the bladder will get expand, right? So once the bladder get expands, so அப்போ என்ன ஆகும், the diameter will be increased. The diameter of the bladder will increase by 40%. So there will be some ratio, right? So to what extent I can since because the expandable diameter of the bladder will causes the force, require force to hold up the object. ஸோ என்ன சொல்ல வர அப்படின்னா, நீ எந்த அளவுக்கு பிளாடர் வந்து எக்ஸ்பேண்ட் ஆகுதோ அப்போ தான் அதோடைய ஃபோர்ஸ் டிட்டர்மினேஷன் நடக்கும். ஸோ மினிமம் இட் requires 40% of expansion, right? So in order to hold down a material, right? So it totally depend upon the what object we are holding on. This is one similarity case. And the next type of nature is called an adhesive type gripper. So adhesive type gripper வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா adhesiveங்கிறது என்ன, it is nothing for it is also using for the purpose of this grasping now, but it for sticky type nature, right? So these adhesive grippers are used for handling fabrics, and it's eventually made for lightweight materials for holding pins and holes, and small weighted objects can I hold for, right? So this is the image which shows on this adhesive type gripper, right? So these are the various types of grippers, right? So we are going to see. So the next one is